Hey everybody, we are back. It's not even the morning, it's 7 p.m. How about that? Found some time to get an Isaac episode done. Baby's asleep right now. You wouldn't. You wouldn't give me the keeper. You know, pardon me, I've been having a little bit of sparkling, bubbly water. This is boisson à basser de eau pétillante. How about that? Bubbly orange. That's what that translates to, kind of. 6EYJ Last episode was mega cursed for multiple reasons. But I honestly thought we played pretty well. Maybe made some strategic missteps, but you know, all things considered, when you factor in that I was interrupted many times by, you know, I was gonna say nature calling, but that's a euphemism for when you have to go to the bathroom. It was, you know, simply the baby crying. I don't think we played that bad. I think the run just kind of, you know, it was missing a little je ne sais quoi, if you will. But it is what it is. They're determined to make me excited for Repentance, you know, over the course of the last week or so, just, you know, real close to the DLC's release. Please, please. They're giving me rooms like this. And they gave me 2 keeper runs in a row that we won, you know, both of them. And then, you know, look at this floor, man. I mean, look, I'm not trying to be negative, but look at this floor, man. Like, come on. Look at this thing. It's the basement 1. How big is this thing? This is like, it's labyrinthine. I feel like Jennifer Connelly. It's because she was in the movie Labyrinth. It just reminded me of that video where the guy parks his Hummer and then the lady starts yelling at him even though she's parked really badly. Like it takes a lot for me to, you know, take the side of somebody driving a truck that is much larger than, you know, I'm not going to say than anybody needs, but, you know, come on. People that need a truck don't get a Hummer. The Hummer is like it's a flex, right? Maybe I'm mistaken, but you know, unless you're driving, I don't even know, like in Fallujah or something. I don't know what you need a Hummer for, but either way, he was in the right in this situation. And the lady kept going, "It's too big for you." Which I forget what she calls him. She calls him a loser or something. Anyway. But her little, like, Toyota Corolla was parked, like, not even between the enormously generous lines of an American grocery chain parking lot. Anyway. Look. This reminds me of that. This floor, it's too big for me. You got no talent. You're flat. That's 2 different videos mixed together. But anyway. We're just kind of like, I don't know, you know, there was always the chance we could find ourselves galloping to the start of Repentance. I think instead we're like sliding in. You know, at the end of Men in Black 1 where they shoot the UFO right after it takes off and then it crashes back into Earth and it kicks up the dirt and it starts skidding, but Tommy Lee Jones doesn't react at all and it's skidding towards him and Will Smith starts to be like, you know, he looks at him like, "Hey, Agent K, should we be, like, a little concerned?" And he just stands still, and then the UFO, like, stops right before. That's pretty much what's happening, I think, with me in Repentance. I think I'm stopping just shy of Oblivion. That's a really good item. Which is beautiful, because we're not playing Oblivion. We're trying to play, Repentance. I've never played Oblivion, actually. But I didn't really like Skyrim. Is that okay to have that take now? There was a time where you couldn't... and I hate to say this, because I think everything's always as cringeworthy as possible, like, right before it becomes legitimately nostalgic. I've said that a few times, and I believe it. I think we made the right decision taking these bombs, man. This was helpful. But that period from, you know, let's say, like, 2008 to 2012, you couldn't shake a stick without "the cake is a lie, lol." Cave Johnson, the cake is a lie. This is a triumph. And then Fuzro Skyrim on the smart fridge. Boss Baby 3, Dragonborn edition. You know, like, oh my god, the baby is not having an amazing time. I could hear that. She's safe, don't get me wrong. She's just hanging out with Mom right now. Not Mom from Isaac. Oh my god, that would be terrible. Now I feel like, you know, there's a lot of people who like Skyrim, for sure. And then, I mean, I'm not like anti-Skyrim. I just didn't have an amazing time with the game. It's not my kind of game. Which is weird. Yeah, I know there's differences, of course, but like New Vegas, I had an amazing time with. But, I honestly think I wouldn't have liked New Vegas as much as I did if I weren't streaming it. The fact that we were kind of like working together with the community to create like my version of New Vegas, not that it was like that creative, but you know, that I was telling my story to a group of, you know, people watching, it just makes it that much more compelling. For me, I don't know, for other people, they're like, I wish this guy would shut up and, you know, watch the Old World Blues cutscene. Or the dialogue that starts it off. But anyway. I don't know, it takes a lot for me to get into a sprawling RPG at this point in my life. I already went there, I went down the rabbit hole. You know, you consider yourselves lucky. Back in my day, you didn't even get, you know, lore videos from fan-created YouTube channels and stuff like that that would do all the work for you. You get, like, game FAQs, ASCII art kind of, like, stuff that would be like, and then Vincent sacrificed his humanity to rid Lucretia of the Mako poisoning, you know? And, like, that's what you would be reading that, like, with your mouth wide open as, like, a little 10-year-old kid. You're like, holy crap. I can't wait for all these questions to be answered in Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. Oof, 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 oof. Sorry, maybe people like Advent Children? I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. That is suckable. This is not even worth taking, in my opinion. I like the deal with the devil meta we got here. We got a really good run. Like, statistically, everything's going according to plan here. Yeah, that's very good. Let me get a little bit more of this bubbly. Sans calories, sans édulcorant, plein de sourire. The sourire. Isn't sourire like underlaugh? Doesn't have any underlaughs in this thing. Well, why the heck is it so expensive then? Good joke, Dad. Okay. Here we go. Moving on. Yeah, you know, I mean, I think... I'm not going to say there was a time where you could say you weren't a fan of Skyrim. Let me rephrase. I'm not going to say there was a time where you couldn't say you were a fan of Skyrim, but you would definitely... People would, like, accuse you of being a contrarian just for contrarian's sake, because it was unfathomable that you wouldn't be a fan of the Fuzuro. Didn't you hear the Fuzuro da, Fuzuro da, Fuzuro da? People would just, they're doing that randomly in the wild. And boy, oh boy, it was wild back then. What am I talking about? Oh, video games, yeah. All the time and every day. GameCube, Xbox, PlayStation 2... Knew all about them since when they were new. Which is pretty ironic, because that, you know, they're referencing, like, the year 2002. It's a long time ago. To know all about them. That's a song from the internet, I don't know. You might be aware, you might not. I don't know, everyone now, like, back in my day, you go to YouTube. Apparently that's this episode, back in my day. My day, you go to YouTube, you Google very simple things. Old man falling down escalator, right? Like, that's... Lady tries to stomp grapes, falls down, makes funny sound. Oof, 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 oof. Stop. Ow, 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 ow. Sorry. That's not funny, man. She broke a rib. Counterpoint. I feel bad that she broke a rib, but it's a little funny. DD Mega Doo-Doo. Funniest newscaster fails 2007. Nowadays, kids are going to YouTube there, and they're doing stupid stuff like getting an education. How to do my algebra homework. Oh, people's history of the United States. Come on, man. Whatever happened to the classics? Man gets hit in groin with football. Baseball comes at screen, will scare people that watch. Jimmy Kimmel pranks kids into thinking their parents are not good parents. Like that, dude, come on. All these kids nowadays, they're like, oh, how to speak Spanish. What's wrong with the Mercator project? They're always watching this educational stuff. Come on, man. Why don't you, like, watch something smart, like Biggest Escalator Fails 2009? I'm not stopping the bit, okay? It's gonna hit. Eventually, it's gonna hit. Speed up, well worth it. Don't mind if I do. Look, I like blank card, obviously, but I'm also like, why don't we see if we can get a little more special here. Sackhead is a great item. Obviously, we're hoping for like a battery charge, but that's Hierophant is beautiful. This is an amazing shop, man. Amazing shop ahead. Now, I will admit, because there's going to be angle brackets in the comments. Makes fun of Skyrim, talks about Dark Souls in a positive light, praise the sun, lol, cringe. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I made a tweet a couple of years ago that was like, people online will really like make fun of like a 9-year-old kid for dabbing, as if they weren't doing the praise the sun gesture to randoms at like, you know, PonyCon 2013. Everybody's got stuff you can make fun of them for, you know. It's just gotta know where you stand, you know. You can't laugh at yourself. I was mentioning it on stream today. It's like I never. You might think that I get mad about people complaining, and I do when they complain about you know, stuff related to my content. It's not that I don't want to hear the complaints. It's really just that so often the complaints are I don't know, like. Okay, and this is not me going off on a rant, but like really minor, like can you tweak like this minor thing, and if you give in to one minor thing, then all of a sudden, you know, you'd think that you get like a thank you, but actually it's like, oh, and then also while you're doing that, and you're like, no, there's no end then. Like in Dude, Where's My Car? There's no end then. This was the end then. And then secondarily, I'm like, it's almost never funny. Like I've been talking about investing. And then somebody on the Discord made a meme, and it had a picture of Dark Souls lore videos, and then the classic, like, soy face that was like, frick off, I don't believe in that nonsense. And then it took a photo of every book that I've been talking about with respect to economics, and it said, so true. You know, like that old meme? And I laughed and I laughed. I thought it was one of the funniest owns I've ever been owned with. And then somebody else made like a comment that was like, you know, yeah, I hate this when he talks about it. And I told that person to shut up, which is probably not the right thing to do. But I didn't tell the meme maker to shut up because I thought the meme maker used comedy to soften the blow of making a good point, which is maybe I've been talking about that stuff too much and alienating a certain portion of the audience, or maybe that's all up to personal preference or whatever. But I took it more to heart because it had that humor backing it up. Screw this, dude. I'm taking it. And by taking it, I mean sucking it up. But the second person, I was like, you didn't put any kind of velvet glove on the stone fist, you know, you just went straight for the jugular. But I'm a big proponent. Many people will see this as toxicity, and I guess it is, but I wouldn't say, because the way I wanted to phrase this at first is that some people need to be told to shut up on the internet. That's not what I mean, really. What I do mean, on the other hand, is that I think people should say shut up more. It's an insult that's kind of like fallen out of vogue, but I think it's very elegant. Like, shut up, it can mean so many different things. It can mean you talk too much. It can mean, you know, what you're saying is not important. Or it can mean, like, I don't want to hear what you're saying. Like, shut up is, like, more offensive, but in, like, a politer way than any swear word in the English language, I think. If I was outside and somebody, you know, said, hey, S-head, why don't you go F yourself? I'd be like, that person's crazy. If I was talking and somebody said, you know, hey, dude, could you shut up? I would be like, oh my God, we have to engage in a fight to the death now. That's so offensive. But also, I would think twice. I would audit my conversation and I would be like, maybe I should have shut up. Maybe I was rambling. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I think it's, well, you know, let's call it a dangerous precedent, but at the same time, I have some respect for the power of that verbiage. The Empress. Shouldn't have said shut up. I do find it funny, though, like the way language changes. Like when you're, like as you age, not just as time goes on. I'm gonna pick that up probably. I just need a second here. Just need to think about how things are gonna go. I'm blowing it up. One sec. Because, like, when you're a kid, if you said shut up, your mom would probably be like, don't say that. If you said the F word, you'd be eating Palmolive soap, right? They probably don't do that. They didn't even do that really when I was a kid. But I know it from a Christmas story. You know, your kid has a... They say some words they're not supposed to say, you wash their mouth out with soap. Probably not a good habit, but, you know, this is the 1950s. Things were different then. In some ways. In that, I mean, they probably still should have known better, but... Anyway, look, I'm not going to try to defend the parenting practices in the 1950s. My parents were born in the 1960s. It's not even my domain. It's not even my parents' domain. It's not even my parents' parents' domain. They were raising kids in the 60s. I'm not, you know, I might be a boomer in some ways, but don't lump me in with that. I'll take it, because then we can... I don't really want to suck up the Bible, but we'll figure that out at a later date, I suppose. Hold on, get some more bubbly here. If you're a kid, and you say the F word, your mom's going to be very upset. If you say shut up, she's probably going to be like, whatever. You know, like, she'll pretend to be like... She'll probably say your middle name, but she's not going to, like, you know, ground you, I think. Depends on your mom, I suppose, but... Like, I remember I was playing Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo, and I got killed by an enemy. I was probably like 7 or 8 years old. I called him a scumbag, and my mom basically just laughed. Like, she was like, it's such a weird insult. I mean, she was like, don't say that, but she was also like, how the heck did you learn the word scumbag? Like, you're 8. It's like... And I think I told her I saw it on Roseanne. Like, I tried to blame Roseanne for me knowing the word. And then later, Roseanne said some stuff she shouldn't say that I would never repeat. So honestly, Roseanne, she should be taking lessons from me now. She's been going off. My mom was right to be upset, I suppose. But we didn't know that back in 1996 or whatever. Help. But anyway... If you're 15 and you say the F word, your mom's probably going to be like a little perturbed. If you say shut up, she'll probably be like, you know, like she'll be mad, but she'll also in her head, I think, be like, that's what teenagers do. Shut up, mom. They shouldn't, the same way that the parents in the 50s shouldn't be washing your mouth out with soap, but that doesn't mean it never happens. But now, like, I think if I said the F word to my mom, I say the F word in front of my mom. I'm a man. I'm a man. I'm 40. 32, actually, but it's no problem. If I told my mom to shut up, she would freaking kill me. She would... I'd be leaving home in a basket. A basket? In a garbage bag? Sure, that makes more sense. I think that the cuss words get much less offensive as you get older, and those schoolyard insults get way more offensive. Like, I don't know, if you're on the playground and somebody goes, you're stupid, you know, you're like, ouch. But you're also like, you know, 'tis nobler to have suffered the slings and arrows, yada, yada, yada. As an adult, nobody calls you stupid unless you're about to, like, frickin' go off, right? People might say the F word, like, just at a casual... I've been in arguments with people on the street, and by arguments, I mean, like, I've had... insane people yell at me. They call me all sorts of things. At no point did they ever say, you're stupid. I would be like, what the... Though this person's like, I gotta call the police. They just say, hey, you effer, come over here again and I'll kick your A, you S-head. And I go, yes, sir, thank you, sir, see you later. If they said, you know, shut up, you're stupid, I'd be like, one of us is not leaving this bus right now. Probably me. But I've got to preserve my own honor at that point. It's weird. Anyway, so what we're going to title this bit, The Cyclical Damage of Insults as We Age. Okay, so if we could get that in the audiobook, and we'll move on to the next chapter now. Okay, you ready? You ready? All right, let's move on. Don't get too attached to these. Let's go. Get attached to these. We want that for sure. Like, the words they teach you, it's weird, right? Like, the words that are offensive to you, the words that your parents don't want you to say when you're young aren't actually that offensive as an adult. Now, it varies person to person. But I was laughing because I was watching this episode of Kitchen Nightmares where the owner stole $250,000 from his son to start the restaurant. Really bad, right? And then, like, I wouldn't say they've come to terms with it at all by the time the episode airs, but, like, they're on speaking terms, at least from an operational, like, let's get the work done standpoint. What's done is done. And I believe, like, he was telling his dad, like, his dad was rambling about stuff and, like, lying. And the son was like, enough. And then the father was like, well, I don't think you should be rude to me. It's like the rudeness of people have so much attachment to the civility of discourse, and I understand. But, like, you know, somebody saying the F word or the S word is not nearly as bad as, you know, some other things you could do. Like, for example, stealing $250,000 from your own child. It's just, I mean, that's a staggering amount of money. And then you put it into the burger kitchen? Like, what are you doing? Anyway. So, you know, civility to some extent is important. And this is all just one man's opinion, obviously. This is a great room. But every once in a while, there'll be, like, someone will do, like, a pretty terrible thing. Like, okay, now this is I don't know if the O.J. Simpson trial is still a hot button issue. But O.J. Simpson, you know, alleged murderer, and also, you know, Heisman Trophy winner. He has a Twitter account, and he tweets, like, once a day. And sometimes, I want to point out, by the way, O.J. Simpson was found not guilty of murder. But then he did write a book called If I Did It. And I believe he was found criminally liable. Let me rephrase, because this is complicated. He was not convicted in the criminal trial of murdering his wife and her potential suitor. But he was found guilty civilly of being responsible for her death and forced to pay an enormous fine, to the best of my knowledge. I don't think O.J. Simpson's going to sue me. I just want to get it right because it's kind of a prickly subject, you know? Either way, so he'll post on Twitter and, like, you know, people will be like, hey, Juice, I think you're a scumbag and I, like, wish you the worst things on planet Earth. And then other people will, like, white knight for O.J. Simpson in the replies and be like, hey, man, you know, like, maybe he didn't do it, maybe he did, but either way, that's a long time ago, and, like, you know, we're moving on from that. And I'm like, you know, they always go like, there's no need for that kind of, like, mudslinging. And you're like, bro, this is O.J. Simpson that you're trying to defend from like slightly mean comments online. This O.J. the man wrote a book about how he would kill his wife if he had done it. By the way, she's dead. Like, it's pretty. First off, you know, I don't know. It's complicated, I guess. Like, I want to say, I think it's a very high-minded ideal. I want to say you should never resort to, like, personal attacks online and stuff like that, because I think that there's some validity to that. But there's, like, a corollary to that, which is, like, if somebody attacks, not physically, but just, like, you know, intellectually attacks, like, somebody that's been found guilty of murder? Maybe if you find yourself in the comments being like, hey, leave the murderer alone, it's time to recognize that civility and manners are not the most important thing on planet Earth. I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. And you may disagree, and to be honest, I don't think my case is indefensible, if that makes sense, or the opposite. I don't think its defense is impenetrable. Because, you know, that's in some ways at least, that's for the court system to handle, right? And I think in, like, a perfect world, to some extent, there would be a separation between, you know, the courts of the legal system and public perception. Because what happens a lot of times is, like, you know, as soon as somebody gets accused of a crime, they end up, you know, being guilty in the court of public opinion forever, whether they did it or not. Now, sometimes they definitely did that, you know? Like, like OJ. Look, I was like 7 when the trial happened. I don't know. I'm not of the right age to be making OJ Simpson references necessarily, but, you know, I think in a perfect world, sure, maybe you're like, you know, what's done is done. I mean, he served time, but for like a different thing. But, you know, the courts decided what they decided, and we're all moving on. But in like the world that we actually live in, I'm like, yeah, I'm not surprised that people are like a little rude to OJ Simpson online, and I'm not gonna take it away from. It's the same, like, you know, physically threatening or harming someone is like a level beyond, right? But when people are kind of like, you know, rude to politicians in public, I'm like, yeah, buddy, that's why nobody wants the job. Dummy. You thought there was like no downside to being a senator? You're gonna come out with some decisions that people are gonna not like. They're gonna see you at a restaurant and they're gonna tell you to go F yourself. That's why it's like the #1 reason so many people never want to work in public service. Are you kidding me? That's why I've said for years, and, you know, like, what do I know, but said for years, like, the only person I would want to be the president is somebody who would never want to take the job. Like, I think that being the president is a reward that should be forcibly foisted upon you for being such an amazing person and judge of character or whatever. Because I feel like I want the person that I want in the highest office in the land is somebody who would never want it because they would take it, you know, so seriously, and they would, you know, it's a solemn responsibility, and they actually don't wish for the power and blah blah blah. Like, it's one of those things for me, the ideal president is somebody that you find at like a, you know, volunteering at their local soup kitchen. You hit them with like a trank dart from a blowgun, and they wake up in the Oval Office, and you're like, guess what? We put the president microchip in you. You gotta be the president for 4 years. They would freaking hate it. That's the other thing. I'm not saying that in a moral society this should ever be allowed to happen, but I think this is, if you structured society exclusively around getting the most noble leaders, that's how you do it. And it's never been tried. No one's ever tried a trankocracy, you know? Where the tranquilizer dart chooses the leader of the free world. We've tried the democracy, we've tried, you know, military coups, and we've tried oligarchies. No one's ever tried surprise you're the president yet. And I'm just, you know, let's give it a try. It could work, you never know. No. Sorry, I thought I was gonna get hit there. This run is all coming together now. Look, I've had some strong opinions on this run for sure. I'm just saying. Am I saying be rude to people at restaurants? No, not full. Well, it depends who it is. And we'll leave it at that. Only be rude at restaurants to people you very much disagree with. I don't know, maybe I'm taking this. Look, I've had situations, I've been yelled at in public, not for like what I've, you know, done as a job or whatever. Let's just suck all that up. Oh my god. But I understand like what it's like, okay? To some extent, not to the extent of being a highly visible public servant or whatever. But I've told the story many times about how, like, you know, when everybody else had already boarded a bus, I sat in the, you know, like priority, like handicap seats, and then somebody at the back of the bus, like, let's just put it this way, we had a verbal disagreement. Where they said some things that were highly offensive, and I put my headphones on and faced the front, and my adrenaline had never pumped any faster than that. But, like, you know, when I see, and this goes for politicians, like, I agree and disagree with, right? When I see, like, a politician that's like, someone was mean to me at, like, a steakhouse, I'm like, yeah, okay, it's not real. Like, come on. You make decisions every day that have, like, a real impact on, you know, people's ability to live and survive, and then somebody at a steakhouse basically said in colorful language, like, hey, I don't like you. We go through that all the time. Exactly. Anyway, hold on. We're moving on here. We're almost done. Dude, I'm still... No, let's not get into that. I'm gonna die. Holy crap, what am I doing here? Hold on, hold on. I reached a point earlier in the run where I was like, this is unlosable. And then that psychology has permeated my brain. Just gotta be cool for a second. We got lots of hearts here. We got lots of judgments. They did say in Repentance they're moving the spikes. So they're not gonna always be in front of the door anymore, which is gonna make backtracking a little bit easier. Okay, let me in. We focus and don't get hit by the cluster bomb. That could have been a disaster. I mean, this is a very fragile point in the Isaac life. You know, I can't believe I played too much of this game, man. I just knew he was gonna pay out. You just got a feel for it. If you ask me, that's unfortunate. That's fortunate. If you ask me how many plays to get Judgment to pay out, I have no idea. However, if you just put me in front of a Judgment, I will demonstrate that knowledge lives within me, apparently. Let's see what's going on down here. I knew it! I saw it coming. Alright, and I mean, you could see that coming as well. Put me in. I'm trying to think, like, this episode, so this is coming out on the 28th. Holy crap, I think there's gonna be 2 or 3 more Afterbirth Plus episodes. That's crazy. I've been playing this game since I was a young man. Now I got gray in the beard, man. I got a child. I'm not even being, like, melancholy or wistful about it. I'm really just, like... It's just a gargantuan task that has now been, you know, very close to completed. It's not like the work is done. It's like I've served a term. Like, I didn't build a bridge, but I served the whole summer. You know, I did what the judge asked of me. This is insane damage. 5 rate of fire, 42 damage. I guess if we get hit, it goes down to 20 damage. So I should stop. I should stop bragging about it. Wouldn't that be embarrassing? I'm so ready for Repentance, man. Oh my god. You know how overworked the banter muscles in the brain are right now? I know I'm gonna get a little bit of like, oh, that must be so hard for you. You're right. It's not that bad, but like. Between a global pandemic and, you know, playing the same game 1,961 times or something, like, I'm fresh out, man. The car's been running on empty. I used to shy away from anything even mildly controversial, and now I'm like, oh, you know what? People should cyberbully O.J. Simpson more. Like, that's where we've gone with this. We've gone in a much different direction. Let's put it that way. He's going off, man. I don't even know what I'd be like spouting revolutionary rhetoric or something if... Might as well have tried there. If this went on like another 6 months without Repentance coming out. They can't delay it now. It really would be career suicide for me. Who knows what kind of nonsense I'd start saying. And I think that's it. I think I'm out of conversation. We had some good banter here, though. I gotta tease apart more of that, like, the effect of swear words as you get older. I don't know, man. There's, like, compliments that hurt me more than the F word now. Earlier today in stream, somebody said, I love watching the stream. The community's got a great vibe. And that's a compliment, but in my head, I didn't take it that way. I want to be very clear. This person was not even being slightly rude. I was mostly just misconstruing it as a joke, but I was like, you know, hey, you're not entertaining at all, but the chat has got it going on. Okay. Like I said, if you own me and it's funny, I respect it. I believe that the phrase is real recognizes real. I can't believe we almost died. There we are. Safe and sound, snug as a bug in a rug. For now, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. And follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Northernlion. We'll be back tomorrow with another one, and I'll see you then. See you.